Hi, Empress.
Hi, how are you today, Dr. Yvonne?
I'm good. I'm good. I am rested. It was a full moon, as you know.
Oh yes, I'm not rested at all. I don't know if you can see. It looks like I haven't slept all night.
You were probably very busy then, huh?
Yes,
Yes.
and
Okay. Tell me a little bit, or just tell me, period, um, what you want to see happen. What are the intentions you have right now? I know a little bit about this story, but if you could just give me a brief little thing, just brief, because I know you have to go. But first, where are you going today? What are you trying to get? And what are your attorneys doing? I mean, so they took your baby. Let's start from there real quick.
okay. So October the 24th, 2020, all three of my children were removed from my home in Florida because of an accusation of abuse. Um, they came out to see that my children were not abused, so they tried to say that I neglected them. So they tried to charge me with abuse, no bodily harm, and neglect, and that was against my 13 at the time. My son was 13 years old, and he's now 14. I've seen him twice since the incident where after this happened in Michigan because my children were given my youngest son, his grandmother, who is not my oldest two children's grandmother, she was given custody by Florida of my three children temporarily until we went to court. When they got to Florida, to Michigan from Florida, she dropped my children off, my oldest two, with their father, who lives in Taylor, Michigan,
Taylor, okay.
and yes, and she took my youngest son, who was 6 at the time, he's 7 now. She took him to her home in Pontiac, and
Pontiac, Michigan or Pontiac, Illinois?
Pontiac, Michigan, Pontiac, Michigan,
So
and
that's son number three. Now, how old was he? Six?
yes,
Okay,
he's
so now
7 now.
he's seven.
Yes, and I have a 14-year-old daughter, Diamond, who ran away from her father and his sister, which caused me to come fly in from Florida to come and get my children. And they were saying that I couldn't get my son because it was a report stated by the dad who was um, going to court to get custody of my son
Yeah.
because he didn't want to pay child support. So he tried to save my boyfriend, who I did not have living in Florida with us at all. And he tried to tell a judge that my boyfriend hit my son. So that's why they temporarily gave him custody of my 6 year old, who is 7 now, Jeremiah.
Did the courts
So,
ever discuss, did the courts ever talk to the children directly in chambers?
yes,
Okay.
the court talked to my oldest children, which would lead to the judge giving me full physical and sole custody of them, and their dad was supposed to have supervised visits. The grandmother knew that, but she still proceeded to drop my children off to this abusive man that she knew was abusing me at a time. And after we broke up, I had a PTO against him because he ran up on me in my sister's home and put his hands on me in front of our son and my nephew. And all this is on record. And she knew this at the time. The grandmother knew this, and she still dropped the children off. That's why my son is in the situation he's in now. CPS is trying to get custody of him because my children's father, the oldest two, their dad told East Point that I was abusive. So I beat the case in Florida. Now I have to go get paperwork for East Point because I have court tomorrow to let them know that I did not abuse my son. And then in fact, the person that called the police was the actual abuser, you know, because once I came to Florida, from Michigan, I arrived to Michigan from Florida to come and get my child. My sister ended up finding her walking around in Taylor, Michigan, by herself. She was just walking around. My sister found her. And this was before he put his hands on my daughter because my sister kept her until I got here. So I got here, and the night after I got here, her and took her out of my sister's house while we were asleep. We woke up. My daughter was nowhere to be found.
Wait, so
Nobody
he
was answering the
kidnapped her.
phone. My daughter's location was off.
Wait, he went into your sister's home and took your daughter. So he abducted her.
Yes, he did. Yes. And I called the police. The police, I have a video recording of the lieutenant telling me I had to go down to the front of the court after showing them the paperwork I got from the court saying I have full physical assault custody of my child. They gave me this paperwork in January 2020. So I'm going to report this in 2020, telling them that this man took my child out of the house after she ran away. After I reported her, and she was all on the news because she was a runaway, or we didn't know where she was. So it was all over the news. And then 2 days later, he came and abducted her out of my sister's home with no custody, and the police did not go and get her.
How did he gain
They told me
access? How did he gain access?
I'm pretty sure that my daughter opened the door. I'm quite sure that's how that happened. And the police didn't go and get her. They said that they spoke to my daughter and everything. She sounded like she was safe, but they didn't know the location. Didn't tell me the location. If they did know, and I'm the mom who has full physical and sole custody of these children, and he doesn't. And on top of that, I was going to court for the lie that was said against me, because the two dads were conspiring. I had asked the other dad, like, why are y'all doing this? And they didn't have a response, but he proceeded to say, Mr. Taylor told me that he wasn't gonna come to court and say the truth and tell the other judge the truth about Mr. Frederick, who is my youngest son's dad. He's not going to tell the truth about the lie he said unless I take him off child support. And the other dad won't give me my son back unless I take him off child support. So these are the
So
restrictions
they both
that they're
didn't
putting
want to
on
pay
me.
child support.
Right. And the court knows this. So the court is trying to say that they're trying to make it seem like they need to see if I'm fit to take care of my children because the dads don't already have custody. So if I'm if they're looking under a microscope to see if I'm unfit, they can try to get custody of my children. Not just my sons, because now I have custody. I only have my daughter right now because her father jumped on her because he was drunk and thought she hid his keys or something. It was something about his keys, and that's how I got to see my son, because this is the second time. But and he wouldn't let me take my son, saying that my son was good. He was straight where he was. So I'm not about to fight with this man because he put his hands on me too many times. So and then I don't have anybody to support me to go over there to go help me get my children. My dad, who is my real father, he is sick in a hospital. My stepdad, he doesn't want to be involved, and I don't really, I have sisters, I don't really too much want to get too many other people involved because I don't want it to be violent. You know what I'm saying? I have uncles, but I don't need to get.
But I mean, that's
like
why
that.
you have a police department.
But,
so
exactly. But this is why we don't have a police department. This is why we need to police ourselves. And this is where we go back to how we don't really have nobody to help us when we really need some help. They want to come in and just take somebody. You see, they're trying to find a way to come and take my children. That's what they're doing right now. They're not going to save my children and bring them back to the loving home that the court told them to have them in. You see, the court already said that I have custody of my children. So why isn't the police going to get my children? And why is it one judge is not listening to the other judges and going, because it's more than one judge that granted me full custody of my children. I got domicile of my youngest son in 2014. Now his attorney is saying on court papers that somehow we were divorced, never married. You know, according to his mom, you know, we were never in a relationship. You know, so this is why is it that if I have full physical and sole custody of my child, this man didn't even have a custody agreement that I am being summoned, my child is being summoned back to Michigan and being taken out of my care. So what I want to see happen is families are being taken advantage of. Black homes are being ripped apart because of the government is trying to find monetary value in us. That's all they see is dollar sign when they look at us. And now they're trying to use my children as money. So they're keeping my children away from me by dragging us in court for a whole year. You know, because who's paying for court? They're going to try to charge us for court. They're going to try to charge us court fees. We have to pay our attorneys for this whole, you know, I'm still paying my attorney. So it's a lot that I have to deal with right now that I don't really have a lot of interest with. So, you know.
I'm sorry. I've got like a million.
No, you're fine.
I'm so sorry. Which organizations have you reached out to?
So I reached out to this organization called Operation Stop CPS. And I reached out to them after I created my own organization called ROC, Return Our Children now. But that's the organization that I just created a couple months ago. Mm-hmm. But I reached out to Mama Chu at Avalon Village. I reached out to Miss Mona Lisa. That's how I met you. I reached out to, I talked to someone that's in the organization with the Black Panthers, but we're still waiting for them to contact me back. I tried to reach out to the organization New Era Detroit. I'm still waiting on a response from them. I haven't really, I contacted them through email and through Instagram, and I left a message on a call. I reached out to anybody who is walking the streets of Detroit.
Have you reached out to the ALCU? Have you reached out to them?
No. I actually just started reaching out to a lot of people these past couple months because I noticed that my youngest son's white attorney is literally pushing the court dates back. He literally didn't even have a real excuse to push this last one back last month, and they set the new court date for October, which will make it a full year since I was able to see my son, Jeremiah, and, you know, have my oldest son, Latrell Taylor Jr. home with me. So this is horrible. And I'm just now hearing about these other moms. You know, I heard about this other mom, Saisha, who baby was snatched off the freeway. So they don't care about us, you know, because the case that they put against me at East Point was dropped by the CPS, and the detective picked the case up. And I'm sure he picked the case up so he can get that raise he got, because once he got that raise, he gave the case over to someone else. So it's like, you don't even really care, because if you really cared about the safety of my son, you would have kept that case even when you got your promotion. You understand what I'm saying? Because it's not, because if I got a promotion in anything. It's not going to stop me from caring about what I was doing prior to reaching where I got. And, so they don't care about us. And I'm starting to see that they don't care about us. Even the police department, they're not doing their due diligence to bring my children home to even see if my sons are safe. My son, Latrell, is not safe in the environment he's in. Jeremiah, he's not safe in the environment he's in. And they know this, and they won't even investigate.
What about the mothers the mothers organization in Missouri of the young men that were the young man that was shot and killed? They have a whole organization, and now she's a senator. Do you know who I'm talking about?
No, I'm not sure when this
Okay,
happened.
Ferguson, I have to do some research, but she is now a senator. So what I'm asking is about in Missouri, there was a couple of people that were murdered, young men. Their mothers, Fergus, New Jersey. I mean, Fergus, oh my God, I can't think of her name. I have to look her up. She actually ran for public office, and she's now sitting on the Hill. She's Black, obviously, and she was one of the Black moms whose son was just gunned down. She was one of the first ones. Ferguson, Missouri. I have to look it up.
Okay.
Do you know who I'm talking? You don't know who I'm talking about, huh?
I'm not sure. No.
If I said it, you would remember, because she started the movement. But let me look her up. She's a Democrat. She now holds seat in the House of Representatives or in Senate. I can't remember, but it's for Missouri. Let me look it up, okay? I think we should get in touch with her, only because it wasn't until after they murdered her son that they got together, and it was several of them. It was Trayvon Martin's mom. Oh my gosh. It's like 4 of them. And one of them is now, I'll find out. One of them is now in government. And I think you need her ear.
Yeah.
Let me find out who she is. I can call Joyce Mason.
Okay. Yeah.
And I can find out. Now, do you have paperwork, correct? What paperwork are you getting today?
No, I get, the paperwork that I'm getting is for my children. So I have to show them again that I have custody because, I don't just be walking around with that paperwork.
Yeah, but why isn't your attorney getting it? Why doesn't your attorney have the paperwork? Why isn't it in your file?
Well, my attorney does have it, but she's doing different parts. I'm trying to help. I just can't. It's a lot going on. I have 3 different courts she's helping me with. So she's being pulled in several different directions. I have the case in East Point. I have, and then the 2 court, because I have 2 different judges for my 3 children. They had 3 different judges at first, but now they have 2. I was trying to get them to have 1, but, Judge Farhat doesn't want to give up my case, even though he wants to keep costing me funds that, he thinks I'm pulling out of the sky. So I'm not really sure. He doesn't even want to sit and do our case because I haven't seen him most of this year. I seen him 1 time this whole year.
So why doesn't your attorney move venue? Why doesn't she do a motion to either combine the cases or to move the venue?
So we tried to do the what is it called? The consolidation. They call it something. And we
Mhm.
tried to do that for the court cases, but Judge Farhad doesn't want to do that.
Is this
You know,
a election
he has
year
to want to.
for him? Is this an election year for Farhad?
I'm not really sure, but you know, I did ask my attorney to do more, you know, more work for her to do. Was I asked her to do some investigating on him and his relationship, you know, with the attorney.
Well, he's
Not just
Middle
that, but
Eastern.
who is he? And why is
Farhad
he trying to give me such a hard time?
Farhad sounds like he's Middle Eastern. Is he Middle Eastern?
Oh, yes.
So,
He might be
so
born
you're a
here. I'm not
woman.
really sure.
You're a woman. And if he's Middle Eastern and you're,
He
and
doesn't respect me.
no, exactly. So she
And
needs
he
to
doesn't
ask for
respect my
him
black
to
attorney.
recuse himself based
Okay.
on his beliefs. So she should be asking the courts, and she should be going to the head judge and ask for recusal. Listen to the language. Recusal of Farhad based on his limited beliefs as far as the rights of women. That is what you need, I believe, because Farhad, that's Middle Eastern. So in the Middle Eastern courts, women don't have any right, no matter what the man is doing.
And that's what it sounds like. That's
So
exactly
you
what it
need
sounds
to
like, because
ask
the
her
other judge.
to file for a recusal. She had, so she's waiting on him to recuse himself. She needs to go to the head judge and make a motion for his immediate recusal based on limited beliefs and his background. And the way to do that is when you go to the courts today, ask the clerk to give you his stats on how he rules. Once you look at how he rules, what you're looking for are the cases that he rules against women. So if he had 10 cases and 9 of them were cases of dissent for women, then you now have a case for immediate recusal through the head judge. Your attorney should have seen that. Your attorney should have seen that. Are you
Well,
here?
I'm happy you've seen it. Yes, I am.
Because I'm listening to the names. A lot of times too, white people don't understand names. They don't look at, where the name originates from. We do.
Yeah.
Because we're more culturally bound. They are not. So no, don't answer. So you have to do that, and you're not taking notes. So I don't know if I should be following you.
I'm not.
Do you have any paper at all? Oh my God. Can you remember recusal?
Yes, absolutely. It's so funny. It's a R right here in front of my sister's house.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, and I just seen a butterfly. Okay, so I already know it's time for change. It's time.
I'm getting chills. All right. So
I knew I wanted him off. It didn't make sense for me to even have 2 judges. Why
it doesn't.
Then I have another. It doesn't.
It doesn't. So your attorney has to do a little bit of legwork in that. She has to, if you go
I'm about to help her.
Yeah, if you go to the system today.
And I'm not taking out for an answer.
No, And when you go to the court today, ask the clerk that you would like to see how he rules. And they literally have a report that they can show you how many cases between, now depending on the jurisdiction, they'll ask you for a time period, a window. Now, if he's family court and they don't move him around a lot, then you can ask just for his courtroom number. Here in Illinois, in Cook County, they move the judges around. So you have to ask by the type of case it is now. So ask the clerk how you can get the stats on Judge, whatever his face's name, the Middle Eastern one. And you want the stats against family cases. Yeah, and how he rules. You want to know how he rules. And you also want to remember that judges are elected.
Right.
So right now we're in an election year. You have to make it public knowledge.
I am.
Because he does not need to
I
be
already said his name.
Yes,
exactly.
in court. The other thing is you have to find out who the local domestic violence chapter is out there. Once you find that out, you're also gonna find some attorneys that are gonna be doing things pro se for domestic violence victims. See, you're going about it the way like you have deep pockets, but you should be going at it in the way of where you are. Your funds are limited, your children are stolen, you're from an abusive background, domestic violence, and he has committed domestic violence against not only your daughter, but your son. So in this, and that's only on the 13 and the 14-year-old. Now the 6-year-old, that one, he tried to kill you. Isn't that the one that you said tried to kill you?
Yes, he tried to send people to come and kill me. Yes, he did. And they talked about it on Facebook. So, yeah.
All right. So you really need to sit down with the strategy. Right now, you don't have a strategy, and that's what I'm seeing. And you have to take it step by step, and you have to commit it to paper.
Okay. Well, I've been doing a lot of writing, but I guess now it's time to write the right things down.
All right. So you want to find out about okay, this is what you want to do. You want to find out about Judge Farhan's record. Okay. You also want to look at what his religious beliefs are. Although that's not amenable in court, it can make a statement even if they try to strike it from the record.
Yeah, they did, because they asked me, they had this Black lady come and ask me about my religious beliefs, and she put it on record that she tried to make me sound like a really bad person. But it's fine. I'll show you all that.
Okay.
I have it all.
I know you need to go, but this is not something you can deal with in 30 minutes or 20 minutes. And there's a lot of missing holes here. I mean, just in the last couple of minutes we've talked, this is everything I've written. And this is only one page. This is the other page. There's a lot of stuff that doesn't make any sense to me, because it doesn't seem like it is it's structured. It seems like it's all over the place. You need to write it down. And you need to have a written timeline. All right. You have to give us a couple minutes to sit and actually go through what you need to write down.
Okay.
When you go to court today, decline.
I go to court tomorrow.
All right. Get whatever records you could get. When you're at the clerk's office this time, make sure you find out what you need to do to get the records, the records from Judge Farhan's trials. The other thing is you might have to do a Freedom of Information request, a FOID. If you have to do that, they will let you know. But Freedom of Information, honestly, this is all part of the system. It's public knowledge. It's, you know, it's considered public records. Nothing,
Right.
nothing in your case is sealed, right?
Nothing in my case is what?
Sealed.
Actually, I don't know, because when I go on the website, none of that stuff comes up. You know, down at the court dockets and stuff like that, it'll say a docket number, but that's it. It don't got our latest docket numbers. It's like they just didn't update the system, and they just said F it. Like, I had my attorney since last year, and she's still not on the docket.
Well, COVID did a lot of things that were weird. However, they should have hard copies. So you're saying they don't have any hard copies?
I will have to inquire about that. I'm not really sure.
What are you going to do right now today? What is your mission today? What papers are you getting today?
The papers that I'm getting are for the East Point court. It's just to say that where I was on that day. I have to prove to them that they're trying to figure out if, well, my attorney wanted me to go get this paper about my car. She's trying to figure out why are they harassing me in East Point, because they're basically harassing me because I guess she said that they came out to my home and I wasn't there, so they assumed that I was trying to dodge them or something, but I wasn't living there. See what I'm saying? So it's like, so I got to go get paperwork stating where I was. And
why are your whereabouts an issue? I don't understand. Why?
Because East Point wants to know.
Okay, why?
I'm not sure.
Okay. None of this sounds right to me. None of this sounds right. I mean, did they have a warrant out for you or anything like that? Was there a bench warrant? What was?
They put a warrant out in March.
For you?
For May. Yes.
For what reason? What was the warrant for?
The warrant was, I guess, for domestic violence.
Against who?
They said Latrell Taylor. So my oldest son, his dad called the police from Taylor and reported domestic violence. And the East Point police are trying to say that it was my son that called the police, which it wasn't, because his dad, he admits to me what he does. He told me that he called the police on me. So I don't know if he pretended like he was my son when he called, or if East Point police is just taking that because they have the same name. But they're trying to
do they have a tape of that call? Was it a 911 call?
That's what I asked. I definitely requested that. I definitely did.
You need a plan.
They wanted to tell me that it was so long ago, they might not. I'm like, okay.
No.
What?
All 911 calls are kept to infamy. All 911 calls. They are not allowed to erase.
He said they are, but not if they call on the station phone.
That's not true. If it's 911, it's recorded.
Okay, well, I'm glad you said that because I didn't know.
If it's 911, it's an emergency call and it's recorded and it is kept in infamy. They cannot erase 911 calls. I don't know what exactly all is going on, but it doesn't sound like it's organized. And it sounds like your attorney is young.
I don't really know. My attorney is doing a lot, honestly. It's because, like I said, she has more than one case she's working on for me. So
I don't care.
you know,
This is
I'm
easy.
still.
I don't care.
I mean,
This doesn't make any sense. If there's a, was it a bench warrant?
I'm sure it probably was a bench warrant because when I went down to East Point to clear my name about the domestic violence, they told me I had to get arrested. So they arrested me. I had to bond out for $1,000. Yes, my bond was $10,000, 10%. My town, Wayne County, my town. I'm registered in Wayne County.
Yeah.
I'm registered in Oakland County, and I'm registered in Florida. So and since East Point want to put hands on me, I'm touching Macomb County too.
Yeah. I mean,
I'm Detroit. I'm Michigan.
Every single, listen,
I'm touching everything. Lansing, because somebody told me
yes.
I needed to go down to the Capitol.
You probably do. But that's why we need to find out where the Ferguson mom is. Because I know that she's either house or she's Senate.
Because I'm still fighting that gun charge too. I told you about. So I mean, I know it's gonna be expunged or whatever, but they still trying to say something. Like I don't need them saying nothing about me because I've done nothing but walk in divine.
They can't talk about that unless it affected the safety of your children.
No, it definitely didn't. My children were nowhere around.
Okay, so they cannot say that unless they're trying to prove that, well, you said that they neglect and abuse, right? Accusation of abuse, which they threw out. So then they went for neglect, but you never endangered your children, right? There was never a charge of endangerment.
Never.
Okay,
Never.
so that's something that your attorney has to look at, endangerment. Okay, I think you have enough for right now, but you need to write this down and find out what you need to do to get, you know, they're going to ask you between what time and what time. All right, so if you could please get that stuff done, make an investment in a folder. A 5, I would do a 3 to 5 subject folder, ring binder. Whatever documents you can squeeze out as copies today that you do not have.
Please leave your message.
You do not have, then you need to see if you need to request it today. All right. Don't know what you're going there for because I don't know why they need to know where you were. If the bench warrant was issued and it wasn't issued to the right address, that's not your problem, that's theirs because they had the wrong information. So you weren't running. So that's something that you guys have to also look at. There's like so much here. I'm gonna let you go for now, but please invest in a binder. Please find out about the Freedom of Information Act. Please find out about Wayne Farhad or whatever his name is up for election. And please get a record of the cases that are similar to yours. In other words, wife and husband or significant others, because you were never married.
Right.
And are those kids on, are the father's names on their birth certificates?
Yes.
Okay. Because that would be out too. I was just wondering. Okay. All right. Do the best you can. Do you have any questions? Give me a call back. Find out what I asked you to find out. And then you're gonna have to spend some time. You have to ask for some guidance here, because there's a lot of things that don't make any sense to me. But it could be because I don't know the whole story. Okay?
No, it doesn't make sense to a lot of people. It doesn't make sense to me either. Every time I tell them about it, they can't understand why I'm going through this. I'm trying to get answers why I'm going through this, and they don't know why I'm going through this because they've never heard of this before. So, you know, it's time to make the change because it looks like they just going to do whatever they think they want to do.
Well, they can't, and we won't allow it. So
no, they cannot, and we won't allow it.
And we will not allow it. We just need to figure out what the steps are. It's hard to talk if you don't know all the steps. So why don't we get our stuff together first?
Okay.
And honestly, I think that you need to sit down with a and get a real update with your attorney. Because this is the kind of stuff that really, if she knew the district attorney in this matter, she could have thrown it out, because that's how deals are made every day. I should know. I've done them. Not in family court, but listen, everything is basically the same if you're talking about the system. It's just a matter of circumstances. And if you've done nothing to warrant these charges, they should have already been dropped. So I'm not understanding that. Okay. All right.
My point exactly.
Do that and let me know where you are.
Okay. Okay. Thank you so much.
Okay.
I really appreciate you, Dr. Yvonne.
I appreciate
I'll see you soon.
Okay.
All right.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.